Alright, today we are going to be replacing the chain on a Remington Pole Saw. It's an electric saw. First thing we'll be looking to do is removing this cover. There's 3 screws located right here, and there's also one on the back side. And voila. So now that we've got the cover off, you'll see that I'm just going to use a Crescent wrench here, an adjustable wrench, to take these 2 bolts off. And then right here you can see there's a lock washer. They can be tricky sometimes to get off. They spin around kind of freely, but you will notice if you have a flathead screwdriver, there's this little impression right here. And if you get in there and carefully pry it off of there so it doesn't go flying. You can see here I'm going to hold this edge with my thumb, get my other finger into this little groove, and just slide it right off of there. From there, I'll loosen these 2 nuts and remove this plate. Plate comes off. Now we can remove this entire unit. There's a little groove here, kind of here. These guys are going to be going around the right side of this. Also, if you look onto the edge here, there's a groove here where these bottom teeth are just going to slide right into. Very easy. From there, I'll be placing my chain and the unit back on here. I've got it propped up on its side. Just makes it a little bit easier here. And you can see how these fit right into these cogs here. The chain fits nice and snug right inside this groove. Get my plate back on here. First things first, I can just finger tighten these nuts on here. Just to kind of get everything set in place. Then I'm going to go ahead and get that lock nut washer back on there. Getting these back on is really fairly simple. You can just kind of rest it on there. Sometimes you might need a screwdriver here. Take my same flathead, secure it with one side, and just give it a little push. And there it goes. So you can see I've got a good amount of slack, and obviously we need to pull this forward and tighten it up. Let's take a Phillips, use my thumb here. I'm applying pressure here, and while I'm applying that pressure with my thumb, I'm going to get in here and tighten up this nut. No slack in the chain. So those are pretty snug. There's really no slack in the chain, very little. Everything looks good. I've actually decided to leave the cover off while I test this. Like I had said, it's electric. This way I don't put the cover all the way back on, and then if the chain does for some reason need an adjustment, I don't have to remove the cover again. There's a safety button here that you'll have to hit, and then you can depress the trigger underneath. Let's give it a looks good. Let's get that cover on. 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. Flip it over, and once those are in place, there's one more screw again on this side right there. Alright, I've got my cover back on. I'll give it one more final test. And that's how you replace the chain on a Remington Pole Saw.